Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Getting Your Ads Seen, Introducing In-Image Advertising, hosted by GumGum and Hanapin Marketing. Your presenters today will be me, Diane Anselmo. I'm the Associate Director of Services at Hanapin Marketing and a PPC Hero blogger, and John Weisgerber, who's the Senior Vice President of Sales at GumGum. We want to make sure that you stay engaged with our conversation today, so please make sure to include the hashtag ThinkPPC in your Twitter tweets, or use the webinar question box to send us any questions that you may have along the way. Before we get started, let's take a live poll question so that we can get a good idea of who's in the audience with us today. So the question is, how long have you been in PPC? Is it 1 to 3 years? Is it less than 1 year? Is it 1 to 3 years? 3 to 5 years? Or over 5 years? And while you're answering that question, I'll give a little bit of insight to myself and my history in PPC. I actually started PPC 13 years ago. I opened my first AdWords account in 2003, which is really hard to believe, but I've been in PPC a long time. I've worked in the in-house side and the agency side, definitely seen a lot of growth. What about you, John? What is your history in digital marketing?
So my history has been a long round effort around display, but always with the mind of performance. So PPC has been part of what I've worked for quite a number of years.
Awesome, awesome. And without any further ado, I'm going to pass things over to you, John, and you can get started with telling us all about GumGum.
Great. Well, I don't know if you get, so at this point, I am still seeing a quick poll on my screen, but is everyone else seeing the GumGum slide?
That's what I'm seeing, the GumGum map of time.
Okay.
I'm hoping that our audience is seeing the same.
I hope so as well, and what I will do is I will work from my version, and when you move to the next slide, just let me know, and I will do the same because I have it live on my computer as well as on the screen in my conference room. So just to give everyone a brief view of GumGum, wanted to introduce one of the busiest slides that you'll ever see on a call like this, but hopefully what you'll get out of this in terms of just some generalities is that GumGum was launched in 2007 as a visual intelligence company and actually invented the in-image advertising space and are currently the leaders in that category. We now have 145 employees spread through 7 offices globally, and we've gone from a very small number of global uniques to 400 million at this point, and we're processing over 100 billion images a month. So a large number of pages that move through our system, and we're serving over 50% of the Ad Age top 100 accounts, and we actually hit a milestone in 2014 of over 1,000 campaigns. So in-image is a unique advertising medium and one that is here to stay. Diane, do you want to move to the fish slide?
Yes, we're there.
So just to give a sense of why in-image, in-image is perfectly suited for the ongoing decline in consumer attention. You'll see here a goldfish. A goldfish actually has an average attention span of about 9 seconds. Consumers have an attention span of about 8. So obviously there is limited time to reach that consumer. We move to the next slide showing the image of the gentleman who parachuted out of the capsule. Because consumer attention is so low, images are the most powerful sources of communication on web pages. our brains can process images 100 times faster than the blink of an eye, and 60,000 times faster than text. Also, if you look at how a web page is built, and Diane, if you're on the page showing the heat map, not only is consumer attention limited, but their focus when they're viewing a web page is directed to the content and specifically the images. You can see why the term banner blindness has been coined, because all of those ad units on the periphery of the image and the content are limited in being seen and activated. So next, in terms of computer vision, GumGum's technology has harnessed the power of the most sought-after real estate on a web page by not only being capable of understanding the context of the images, but also pairing that with the context of the written word. Our algorithm reviews both the image and the text, and will only serve an ad on positive sentiment pages. We'll discuss targeting a bit later, but our capacity to analyze 100 billion images a month allows us to be uniquely scalable. So especially when it comes to PPC and keywords, that sensibility of being efficient is important, and this is one of those key elements. So next, we'll give you just a view of what it means to have an in-image ad. Diane, if you want to push play and show the experience. We've talked a little bit about the attention of a consumer, the power of images on the websites, and the technical capabilities of GumGum. But this is an example of what it means to display an ad within an image on a website. And you can see that the image almost looks like it is created for the ad versus the ad for the image. And that's the unique nature of GumGum. We have a couple of different families of in-image solutions. We have the primary in-image solution, we have in-screen, and we have native. And the benefits of in-image advertising include being highly viewable, hugely engaging because it's part of the user experience, the relevance that the ad has to the image, and then being able to carry over this advertising medium from the desktop to tablet to mobile. So again, all of those great things that we look for in having some form of performance for our advertisers. In terms of video solutions, Diana, are we keeping up here?
Yes, you know, I'm actually not certain if our viewers are able to see our slides.
Oh, okay.
So I am going to try and relaunch this because these are excellent slides,
okay,
and I want to make sure that our viewers can see them. So if we can just take one quick moment.
Certainly.
All right, and I will try and relaunch this. For some reason, when we did the live poll, I got something happened, and it looks like I lost my ability to host this.
Well, let me say that webinars have never been the perfect medium, but I hope I haven't been too obscure in my descriptions with no images appearing. So.
No, we're going to give this our best. We're going to give this our best shot, and I'm going to try and log back in. So if you just give us one moment, and I apologize for the delay.
Ah, I see an image here.
I think we're back in business. We're on the video solutions slide.
We're on the video solutions slide.
Yeah, would you like me to step back one?
You know what, actually, I don't know. Let's do this. Can we step back two?
Sure. Hang on.
So for those on the call, I went through a variety of descriptions. We talked about the attention of the consumers, the power of images on the web pages, and the technical capabilities of GumGum, that ability to actually recognize what was taking place in an image as well as the text on the page and marrying the two. But if you'll go back just one slide, Diane, we're going to show them what it means to host an in-image advertisement. So this is one of our standard executions. If you'll push play, Diane, you'll see that the ad renders at the lower portion of the image. It's contextually relevant. Here's an example of an in-image ad with video. And you'll see that it actually plays within the player. If the user scrolls over that player, it actually enhances into a light box. And you'll see here that that was a full page overlay takeover. Not necessarily fit for PPC, but an incredibly engaging experience. And if you'll go to the next slide, Diane. This is what I was describing in terms of the power of in-image ads, the viewability, which is such a key component these days for display advertising specifically, but obviously being seen and being viewable are key to in-image advertising. The engaging factor, because it's in the content stream, to be able to involve the user is significant. The relevancy of the ad to the image, when we have over 100 billion images that we're scanning, that capability of providing the right ad in the right image environment is key. And then also being able to be multi-screen. All of our ads are built in HTML5, so they cross over desktop, tablet, and mobile. So if we're looking at the next slide, the video solutions, we break down our ad solutions as families and then also by the context of those solutions. So we have a number of video solutions. If you see the orange triangles, each of you will have access to this presentation after our discussion. And these triangles will allow you to see a live version of these, but we provide in-content video, which means that the video unit is presented within the context of the text. It is only shown when the text is actually in play, and it's left with an ad banner after the fact. In-image embedded video allows us to create a view experience along with a static ad. And then in-screen embedded video allows us to create an experience where the ad rests at the bottom of the screen, takes up the entire display, and plays video in that unit. So that's 3 video solutions. And the next slide will show some native executions. We have what we have considered native standard, which is applying that visual intelligence to the page and being able to create within the template of the websites that we're partnered with. And then also to do native video, where there's a video player along with text, so it looks like it's part of the experience. And then next, we serve a couple of unique mobile solutions. Mobile is always a difficult medium to find productivity, but all of our users are moving to mobile. So GumGum has a couple of highly impactful experiences. One is an in-screen half-page takeover, and the other is a full-screen takeover, and you'll, again, be able to see both of those by playing the orange triangles in your own presentations after this discussion. The next is in-image solutions. The in-image solutions include just the basic in-image studio experience or standard experience, and think about this as a 728 on steroids. This appears at the bottom of the image and again is built in HTML5, so no matter what size that image is, whether it's 300 pixels or 770 pixels wide, that image will adhere to that space. In-image animated allows for animation within the ad, which really garners attention from the user. And then in-image canvas is a takeover of the entire image that is contextually relevant and looks like a prestitial to the image itself. And then last, in terms of solutions, is what we call in-screen, and that represents the recognition of placing a long, thin advertisement at the bottom of the screen, taking over the entire monitor or device. You'll see it here in terms of in-screen on a desktop experience, and then the in-screen animated on a tablet, both of which are spawned based on the context of the image, again using that visual intelligence to serve the appropriate contextually relevant ad next to the experience. And then next, you can take all of that creative power, whether it's video, mobile, native, in-screen, in-image. You can take all of those unique ways of displaying an ad in content and in our images and target them very, very specifically. And this is where I think PPC really has some power. We can provide targeting on a contextual basis. So you'll see at the top contextual relevancy toward hair, where L'Oreal has targeted women with voluptuous hair. It can be audience targeted, so we pull in Blue Kai and Exhalate data to look at families, to look at people with kids, 25 to 54. We can look at keywords or categories. We can look at events like the Oscars. We can look at specific products. So if you would want to conquest against another product that's competing with yours, or the ability to complement a product, you can do that. And then also from a lifestyle standpoint, whether that be health or wellness, those are all just different targeting aspects that we can bring to bear based on the scale of our platform. Next, we're going to talk we're going to share just a couple of quick case studies. Know that after this call, if in fact you have a particular category or product, it's probable that GumGum has a case study. We have worked with every category and with so many different advertisers that we have a lot of case studies to share with you, and especially when this is a new medium for you, being able to show that there are results that can be garnered is hugely valuable, I'm sure. So in this experience, a CPG company surrounded beauty, fashion, bridal, and entertainment and focused on imaging with video. We served over close to 5 million video views. Our engagement was significant at 9.14%, and our video completion rate was 80%. So out of those 5 million, video completion rate is one of the most difficult indices to fulfill, and obviously there's a lot going on with video, so the ability to do this for a CPG company that is general in nature is really unique. Next, we have a farm experience case study, and in this particular instance, they wanted to generate awareness and consideration. They had a specific target around women, and the strategy was to surround content with related nutritional solutions. This was pretty unique in that there was 80% viewability, 1.8% or 1.8 times higher than the industry benchmark, and then 9 times higher than industry benchmark as it relates to click-through. And then last, I don't know if any of you work on automotive accounts, but Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 do quite a bit of PPC efforts. This is an example of working with a local dealership that was focused on driving awareness, but getting consumers into the dealership as well. The strategy was to target those market and looking to buy a new car, and blew the impression goal so that the team could optimize the best performing placements across the platform. We had an over 81% viewability, huge engagement, a sizable click-through. I don't know how many times you'll see a 2.46% click-through, but obviously that always fits with the concept of contextual relevance. And then the mobile time spent was almost 50 seconds. So a great way of utilizing performance-oriented media. Next, why is GumGum uniquely positioned for PPC? First and foremost is you are actually paying for advertising that is not only brand safe, but is actually verified from the standpoint of fraudulent traffic. We use Double Verify's brand shield. We use explicit semantic analysis. There's also a keyword component, but the level at which GumGum looks at that page allows you to be assured that your ads are brand safe and reaching the target that we've picked. Next, in terms of brand performance, just on an average basis, and this is really unique. I've come from a content publishing background. Before this, I ran the luxury group at Hearst. And to see 81% viewability on average is significant. On sites like Elle and Harper's Bazaar that I used to manage, we had an average viewability of about 16%. So you can see the significant difference in image advertising. Engagement is significant. If any of you use engagement as a secondary performance metric, being at 10% is also significant. And then having an average click-through across all of the impressions that we serve at close to a percentage point is significant. And then brand lift at 37% overall. So performance is key. And then getting to the end of this overall presentation, obviously we've talked about how we do what we do, shown examples of the experience, shown how we target, but also I wanted to share that the type of brands within which these image ads are served are really the best of the best. So we are the exclusive in-image vendor for all of the Time brands, all of the Winter brands, all of the Bonaire brands. We reach over 400 global uniques, as we discussed. We have over 2,000 premium publishers working with us, and we're serving over 10 billion monthly impressions. So when you look at some of those metrics of success in terms of 0.84% click-through, if you think about what that represents to 10 billion monthly impressions, it's a significant performance consideration. And then last, before we go into the PPC side and why you should care, wanted to share that we have been used by 5 of the 5 global ad agencies. Obviously, all of the large ad agencies are using GumGum. We've generated over 2.5 thousand or 2,500 brand campaigns, and then obviously scraping 100 billion image impressions to serve that 10 billion number that we saw recently. And then this is just a tombstone of all of the great brands that work with us on a variety of levels, from PPC to display. And with that, Diane, I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, John. That was really informative. I am going to talk about in-image advertising from a different perspective, and it's why should PPC care about this? Because I'm a PPC marketer, I work at a PPC agency, and immediately when I first thought about in-image advertising, I didn't necessarily know if that was going to be a fit for any of the clients that I work with, because it didn't seem like it fell in that PPC bucket that we so often target our initiatives to. But the more that I started hearing about an image and the more attention I started paying to it, the light bulb was sort of going off in my head that this really is something that could help my clients. And this is something that is unique and it's something that I want to learn more about. And as I said, the more I learned, the more excited I got and started sharing with clients, some of who are now doing in-image advertising. So the focus of what I'm going to be talking about today is more from the PPC marketer perspective, and why you should care about in-image advertising. So the first thing is businesses are branding more. It's just happening. I notice on my client calls now, more of the conversations that my clients are having are actually involving branding. And honestly, being in the PPC world for so many years, I was actually surprised when that started happening, because most of my conversations were usually about, if I spend this much more money, how many more leads will I get? Or how many more sales will I get? It was just so much more results oriented. And as my clients are evolving, as marketing is evolving and changing, clients are starting to come to me more with branding questions. And that's where in-image fit into what I was thinking about, because I'm looking for ways that my clients can expose their brands. But I also want to make sure that we're doing it in a smart, targeted way, and that we're not just throwing dollars out there and not really understanding who we're reaching and what message we're putting in front of what person. So that's sort of what got the fire going with me as far as in-image. And one of the things I thought about is the decision-making journey and how it has changed so much when we think about even the past 10 years. Think about when you're going to make a decision about a brand, whether that be a brand of a car that you're going to buy, or a blender for your kitchen, or lawn chairs for your backyard. We now have access to so much more information than we ever did before. So it used to be where, we would hear about a brand and maybe we'd be interested in a brand and we'd buy it, we'd take a chance on it. Now there's so much more information. Now I can go online and I can read reviews from hundreds of people, or as many as I want, to make sure that the product I'm buying is exactly what I want or need. And I can do that also with content. There's so much content available on the internet that people can read when they're making decisions. So why not find ways to be there when somebody is making a decision about something that might be applicable to your brand? So anyone in marketing is familiar with the funnel, and obviously this is a marketing funnel. The top of the funnel is the awareness stage, and that's when we're letting somebody first hear about our brand. And that's honestly not too much of what we're doing in PPC. I'm used to getting people a lot lower down in the funnel with the keywords that I'm bidding on. Usually I'm getting people in that consideration or about to purchase phase, because a lot of the keywords that I'm bidding on are more like buy such and such, or purchase and things like that. It's not really to gain awareness. But the more and more discussions that I was having with my client, I noticed a common thread. And the common thread is that what I've been hearing is we need to go to other platforms. We need to find other places where we can capture people that we may not be able to capture in our PPC efforts. And some clients also just felt that we had maxed out on the PPC efforts and that there was more traffic out there, but that we just weren't able to find that. And that's, of course, where filling the funnel comes in, and why that is so important to us in marketing. Because if we don't get those people at the top of the funnel, we'll never get them to the bottom. But one of the things that I was thinking of when I was considering in-image advertising was that, what if we can find a way to really get the people at the top of the funnel to be people who are a little bit more targeted than the way we used to bring people in at the top of the funnel? What if there's a way to create that awareness with the audience that might not have been familiar with us before? But what if we could find a way that we could target them a little bit better, so that the percentage of people at the top, from the top of the funnel, that make it to the bottom actually increases? And to me, if I could find a platform like that where I can expose the brands to a large amount of people, but I can have a little bit of extra targeting in there that we weren't previously getting, well, then that's value. That's value to my clients. That's value to the people I work with, because they're able then to see those people turn turn into clients, turn into customers, turn into leads, whatever the goal of the campaign is, we can at least see it at a higher rate, and we can bring in that volume of people that we've been looking for, that we felt that we've been maxed out on in our other channels. So again, that was another reason that I really started paying attention to in-image advertising once I found out all of the targeting that we could do on that level. And then I went into analytics and I just took a look at my general searches for things, and I noticed that general searches do lead to branded searches and conversions. We don't always see them come back on the paid side of things. They may start with a paid search that's general, and they end up coming in direct or as a referral, but those people are still important and we still need to find them. So moving into the in-image and what I call the targeted branding approach, the first thing I learned when I was investigating this is that branding is no longer as blind as it used to be. It used to be that we would purchase, placement on a major website. Maybe we'd run on their homepage for a day and you captured a ton of people, but most of them were wasted impressions. Most of them weren't really the right people that we were looking for. So at the end of the day, we spent a lot of money and we got very little in return for it. So when I became aware of in-image advertising, the first thing that really piqued my interest was that we could target specific content segments based on keywords. So, for example, let's just say that you're a big spa somewhere that people travel to, and you want to utilize in-image advertising. You can say, by keyword list, I want to appear on articles that talk about people traveling to spas, spa resorts, spa vacations, spa travel, that kind of stuff. And you can make that as specific as you want to. Obviously, the more specific you make your the harder it would be to scale. But if it was about getting the more targeted person in, then that might be to your advantage. So that part of it is wonderful because you're able to really target based on specific keywords. But what I liked even more was the ability to anti-target, because when I think about the technology behind this and how it's scanning for articles that have spa in it, well, I don't want to appear if it's somebody looking to buy a spa hot tub for their house or for their backyard, right? Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm a resort and I want people who want to book a trip to my destination. So you can put things like spa hot tubs on your anti-targeting list, or somebody who's looking to purchase a spa robe. Well, that person may not be interested in booking a spa trip, but somebody who's reading an article about the top 5 spa destinations to travel to, well, that person might be somebody I want to reach. So how perfect would it be if they're reading an article like that, and on top of the image that they're seeing is an ad for my spa? So that's really what it's all about to me. And with PPC, we always say we want to reach the right person with the right message at the right time. With in-image advertising, if the targeting is really specific, we're reaching the right people, or most of the right people. We know that not every impression we're going to get is going to be the perfect impression. But with our targeting, we're trying to reach the right people with the right message. The thing missing from that, of course, is the right time. Is it the right time for that person? Is that person really looking to book a trip to a spa that day? Probably no, but maybe they are in the future. So we've got the right person and we've got the right message there. So that's really what I saw in this that made me feel that this was worth a test and that this was worth bringing to my clients that I usually have conversations based on just regular traditional PPC with. And when I started having those conversations, the feedback that I was getting was a lot of interest. And I have one client already doing this and another just about to start doing this. And the more I talk about it, the more interest I get from people, because it's filling a need for them, which is reaching that larger group of people that they feel they're missing out on. And the fact that they can target adds an extra element of targeting and excitement for them, because they're able to feel that they're bringing a better audience to them. This is just an example that I pulled off of the GumGum site, actually, and this is showing in-image advertising in action. And this is an article about 5 must-see cars and trucks at the 2015 Chicago Auto Show. So this is an article about somebody who's interested in cars, trucks. They might be interested in attending the Chicago Auto Show. Maybe they're looking to see what the top cars are. And there's a picture of the Lincoln Navigator, but there's also an in-image ad featuring the Lincoln Navigator appearing right there. So in this case, if somebody was looking for more information about the Navigator, they would just click on that ad and be taken away to the Lincoln site, so they would be able to get more information that way. So in this case, the ad is highly targeted, and it's appearing in the right place. And again, whether or not it's the right time for the person, well, we can't control that. We don't know that. We don't know if the person's looking to make a purchase today. But our brand here, the brand here is appearing on a relevant article. It's not just appearing on an article of people who maybe fit the demographics of somebody who might purchase a Lincoln, but it's actually on the article of somebody reading about cars. So this is just a cool example of the technology at work. And when I thought about this, as far as bringing a strategy to it with the accounts that I work on, a couple of the things that came to mind were highly related content. That's such a huge advantage, what I spoke about before with the keyword targeting, because we are not showing these ads to people who we don't think are interested. So the fact that we're able to really add a nice layer of targeting to it is super helpful. It is possible that we're making it a little too granular by doing it that way, and we know that. I mentioned before, we may have trouble scaling if we keep it too tight, but for an advertiser that really knows their brand and really knows where they want to show and where they don't want to show, that's a great strategy. And you can layer on that geography. So if you have top markets and you only want to advertise in those markets because you know they're more likely to purchase or convert for you, you can do that too. Another strategy, and John, you touched on this a little bit before, is the conquesting competitor strategy. And I like this one a lot because this really gives advertisers the opportunity to look at their competitors and be where their competitors are. So let's go back to the spa example that I noted before. Let's say there's a competing spa that a lot of people that might go to your spa would also go to that one. If there's an article about that spa, your ad can appear on the image. So that's a really cool thing to do if you want to make sure that you're getting your brand out to people who might actually go to a competitor of yours. So I think that that's a really good strategy to put in place. There's also some great stuff you can do with your social media within the ad unit. There's other units we can look at, but some of the ones that I saw on the GumGum site were where you can actually have a live Twitter feed in your ad copy, like in your ad that appears over the image. So that's really great if you have a high social media question, a high social media strategy. So you can combine the two. And then there's event targeting. And I think this is really cool too. Say, for example, you have a brand that you work with that is really has something to do with, let's just use the Super Bowl as an event. They want to be wherever somebody's reading about the Super Bowl. Well, within image advertising, we can accomplish that. We can say we want to run our ad over the images on all articles that have to do with the Super Bowl. So that's another way that we can leverage in-image strategy and make it work for us. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about bringing that right person in. That's what we really want to make sure that we're doing. And as I mentioned before, where I'm seeing success is with high targeting and with really honing in on who the user is. So the better the advertiser knows the client, the brand that they're working on, and most advertisers do know their brands very well, the more they can tell you about their users, the better your campaign can be. So just to give you a little bit of basis of comparison on the campaign that I'm launching with right now, what I am seeing is that there is a high click-through rate, which is great because that tells me I'm hitting on the people that are interested. And, you know, I'm also seeing that when I compare my metrics like bounce rate, pages on site, length of time on site, when I compare it with display campaigns that I'm running in PPC, I'm actually seeing that my in-image ads are outperforming my display campaigns. And I'm using that, it's not a 100% apples to apples comparison, but it's the closest I could come to really determine whether or not this is working. So as I said, I'm seeing lower bounce rates than I'm seeing on display, and I'm seeing a lot to tell me that this is working. And that really sums up in my portion of this webinar talking about why PPC should care about in-image strategy. Before we get to the offers and our live Q&A, I wanted to take a minute to invite you to our next webinar, which is next Thursday, July 7th. Our Senior Account Manager and Resident Social Expert, J.D. Prater, will be discussing Pinterest advertising and why it needs to be part of your marketing mix. So if you'd like to register for it, go ahead and click on the link right there in your chat box. And now to the offers. Excuse me. We have a few offers for you today, and you can choose to take both, or you can choose to take neither of them. The first offer that we have is a guide to in-image advertising from GumGum. The second one we have is an account analysis by the experts at Hanapin, and that's for accounts spending $15,000 a month or more. Or you can choose both of these offers, or you can choose neither of these offers. Okay, so without any further ado, I would like to switch over to the live Q&A. And the first question that we have, I'm going to pass over to you, John, and this is one about the different kinds of ads that GumGum offers, like static versus in-image. And what they want to know is there a big difference in performance between the different ad types that GumGum offers?
So there is a significant difference in each of the ad experiences that I shared in the presentation. But what's interesting about PPC or any performance-related media is that the cost of ad divided by the interaction rate or the performance metric becomes key. So the static experiences, and those can be in image, or those can also be, and when I say static, meaning there's no animation, there's no large takeover element, it's a standard unit that would fall into the image or in screen. A standard ad can be in both, are the most productive from overall cost and percentage. But those ads that are, as they progress in their interactivity and their animation, they become far more engaging in terms of the basic metric of click-through. We also do a lot of work with advertisers where we'll place a conversion pixel on their site and we'll optimize against their particular KPI. Obviously, if it's a PPC KPI, then that's something that we can help in working through. But hopefully that gives you the example of the most efficient unit for those of you who are PPC focused is the static unit. But obviously, if you're looking to generate awareness, and that is a key element as well, then some of the more animated units will work. Diane?
Yes, thank you, John. Perfect. Okay, I see somebody here has asked a question about location targeting. And John, feel free to chime in here. But as I recall, obviously with the campaigns I'm running, we are able to target based on geo. Did you want to maybe highlight a little bit about a good strategy for targeting geographically?
Certainly. Targeting is an element of the targeting capabilities that GumGum has available. And in fact, we work with a lot of auto dealers that have very specific location considerations. The hardest part about localizing one's advertising is obviously scale, and then being able to customize that message to have that right message to the right person. So depending on how finite that geo-targeting is represented is the limitation, but it's one of the key benefits of working with us is to be able to geo-target.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, thank you. And I believe that those are the only questions that we had today. So I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to attend our webinar today. I hope that we were able to give you a little bit of enlightenment on what in-image advertising is. I hope everybody learned something, and obviously feel free to keep tweeting those questions should anything else come to mind after the webinar ends.
Diane, I just want to thank you for having GumGum a part of this discussion, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Bye.